Outside on the corner where I caught the bus, thinking in my head it's colder than I thought it was. Sometimes life is like that, and you just quiver your lips, whisper a wish, hoping someone might give us deliverance. Now deliver this message, think I could live with this message. You could just give a few seconds to come and sit in my presence. And yes, it is so precious, yes, it is a blessing. Next, I'll attempt to express it with every heavy breath, cause just to make it worth it, and just to make it real, you always made it perfect, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes we think too much, and we lose control, but it's not what you know, no, it's who you know. Days that will not end, I'm sure you've had them too, wishing you're still in bed, and yet we have to move. This is what passion do, this is what passion does. It's on my planets too, start sending back the love. Snowflakes fell like a gift from the skies, and teardrops swelled when I lifted my eyes. And it was surely just brightness that had informing me, while the storm in the streets was adorning the trees, and it clothed each branch with a layer of the purest snow. And this miracle was a little less than a year ago. Now summer's almost over, the weather's growing colder, approaching frozen sojourns, a Minnesota soldier. Backpack on my shoulder, days on shoulder, I spend most alone. Still growing older, feeling lonesome though I'm close to home. I'm the city bus and both are closing on the open road. My soul is folding though I'm holding on, and so it goes. And sometimes when it's dark, I look up at the stars, think about how small we are, but at least we have hearts, getting past our speeding cars. On these streets of ours, I want to be the cause for someone's grief to pause. Cause just to make it worth it, and just to make it real, you always made it perfect, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes we think too much, and we lose control, but it's not what you know, no, it's who you know. Days that will not end, I'm sure you've had them too, wishing you're still in bed, and yet we have to move. This is what passion do, this is what passion does. It's on my planets too, start sending back the love. I can't even get emotional, cause even though this road is negotiable, this a road that chose, going solo, feeling so low, when I don't know the things I'm supposed to know. But so, I know some brothers that are rolling in the same road with the same goal, and they say focus. So just focus, and you don't quit, it's a long way to go, I'ma need y'all to go with. I got your back like the shirt takes size, no matter what it is, yes sir, that's right. Even when you act like a dirtbag guy, admit never fall for sure, that's why I keep no accounts of flaws, keep holding out for y'all. People is all we are, you know I'm down by law. Cause just to make it work, and just to make it real, you always made it perfect, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes we think too much, and we lose control, but it's not what you know, no, it's who you know. Days that will not end, I'm sure you've had them too, wishing you're still in bed, and yet we have to move. This is what passion do, this is what passion does. It's on my planets too, so I'm sending back the love. Cause just to make it worth it, and just to make it real, you always made it perfect, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes we think too much, and we lose control, so it's all this for all of the fools we know.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Duke City, back with you once again. It has been a while, a long while. I had some stuff I had to go through, some positive things, some negative things, but here we are back live, and hopefully there's some things we got to talk about here. Some things, some good stuff, some bad stuff, and everything else in between. And not just the world of pro wrestling, but entertainment and all the good stuff here. If you want to come on here and talk with the people, talk with everyone else here, it is chat is always here on lock, and you can always be here live as always, because this Dukect Lounge always is the place to be here, right here on this lovely, and I say this, a lovely Thursday evening on on this lovely Thursday evening here, this nice chilly day in the great state of Florida. Yeah, to move for a while, but don't worry, I believe I'll be back in DC soon enough. So anyway, enough of that stuff, let's get into some news. Let's see. What do we want to talk about, kids? What do you want to talk about now? What do you want about to talk? So, like young man says about. So, what do you want to talk about? Because there has been a big stuff here. You got the Bound for Glory thing. You got Andrade's drama in AEW. Then you got Wrestle Dream. You have all this stuff to talk about. Not to mention all the video games. Like I said, Microsoft being completely and totally just missing the boat about stuff and just like, upping its price on Game Pass and everything else. And then you look at entertainment, Disney, who says they want to, we want to get the young kids back in Gen Z. And then, we'll just bring back Tron because that, and Jared Leto, because that'll put butts in seats. Spoiler, it didn't. But you know what? Let's start with something, a little bit of something, back to the days of the simple things, the nice things. Oh, what's up, Russell? Exactly, oh yeah, that thing, Vince McMahon. I don't think he killed that white woman. By the way, I don't think he killed that white woman. I think he was just that woman was still alive, and she sued and said, "Okay, you're gonna be, all that stuff," but he got away scot free, which is not a surprise. But yeah, but let's talk about some total nonstop action. Let's get into that because let's talk about the absolute bound for glory. The bound for glory. Let's talk about it, as Trick Williams would say. We'll have Steve Macklin, who, um, funny enough, lost his championship because of some AAA interference. Messias came in, interfered in his match for everything else. But then he beats Frank Kazarian clean, so no El Messias around. So that's just weird. And okay, and then we get to the Tessie Blanchard and Gia Miller match. It was just a 6-minute match, and I didn't really care for it. Most people didn't care for it. I don't know why Tessa Blanchard is still here. And then this, which is hilarious, and all this other stuff. You had the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. The ladies and the men are doing all this little BS stuff here. I like the fact this whole thing, Call Your Shot Gauntlet, started, I think, was Bound for Glory 2017, I think. I don't know, BFG 2015 or 2016 or whatever. And there was some chicanery as both Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian both won Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Because, hey, it's not TNA where you don't have a BS chant. Because, hey, who wants to actually have a strong winner? And by the way, I like Nick Nemeth just didn't want to be a part of the WE cross. Like, no, I want to be over there. But yeah, and then you have Clay Jordan. Fine. Winning the championship. By the way, I think she's still in NXT. I don't know. I saw bits and pieces of it, and it was a real hardcore war, as it were. The system defeated the Order 4 in this really crazy hardcore match. The ladies and the men going hardcore on each other. And it was very, woke the crowd up a bit, but this was the match that really got people excited. This was the match. Oh, yes. Leon Slater, Javon Evans, the two young black, wrestlers who were there. And this match was great. The crowd, people were there, said the crowd did not get alive until this match happened. They were chanting Javon Evans. They were chanting Leon Slater. They were going back and forth. And this was just, I saw this match, man. It was really good. It was getting to be one of the best matches here. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see. More young guys, more and more people put in these high-end positions. And then, guess what happened, kids? Guess what happens? Well, TNA happens because it ended in a time limit draw. So, Okay, then Santana Morella rocked out again for that 5 more minutes, and then after 1 minute later, Dark State came in and ruined everything. You know what? I have a. Let me see if I can get this thing up here, because by goodness, see, there's an image I want to put up here. Let's see, where did I put this? There it is. Let me see if I can open it here. See if it works. Because this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happened. It looks like those two, Dark State is legitimately crapping on both of those talents, and the crowd chanting "F you guys." And before that, another BS chant, because that's what TNA really needs. Another just, just to really, put the people in a foul mood. That's how you get people to go to your shows, right? That's how you get people to go to your shows, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it, right? That's how you continue to just build up your talent and build up your young stars and then completely crap on them. Like this dude right there is doing. Legitimately. It feels like they do legitimately just like he's about to drop a complete deuce on them. Great job there, Batman. Great, just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I mean perfect, I mean perfectly crap. Uh, and then, Chris Bay came out and read the whole bloated up number. But I'm like, no, I just lost it right there. I lost it. Because, come on now. Look at this. Look at this. Greatness completely ruined. Greatness again. And this is not the first time Javon, I'm stinging this point because I want to make a real good point here. Dark State cost him the match. And the reason why is we don't know anymore. We don't know why. Because Dark State just lost the NXT Tag Championships to the Hardy Boys. And you'd think they would be there, but no, they weren't there with the final table. Why was that? No one knows. They attacked them later, the next episode. Mm. Oh, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna talk about this. I'm rounding up to it. I'm rounding up to that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm rounding up to it. And some say, well, we can have Dark State do something like that. No. Guess what? Now we have this whole thing, wasted time and potential and wasted, everything else. Because it reminds me of Wesley, and they're like, oh, people say, oh, like I think Brian Alvarez said this, saying, oh, they'll be back in 5 years. Remember, like, yeah, 4 years. Yeah, they keep talking about it. But I'm like, Wesley, remember Wesley? Remember him? Remember Wesley? Um, yeah, I remember Wesley. Let me see if I can get the people out there, you know, uh, you know, because I mean Wesley and a numerous of other people there was let go after everything they built up to him. And I know he had that back injury, but he was still performing very well. You know, you know, he had that connection, and even though he had that back injury, let me just see if I can share this thing here, right here. He was released just recently. Exactly. He was yeah, high rise. And you know what happened? Nothing. He lost to Javon Evans, who was always on a losing streak as well. He was Desmond Alexander. He was working with TNA, which I wouldn't be surprised with that. Um, he might come back there, but again, they built him up. They turned him heel. It looked like he was going to do something with the NXT Championship with Trick Williams, but they drowned him out and forgot about him. I remember that. It was that big old premiere and everything else, and then it was gone. And it says the rightful blame is heel run. No. Yeah, his heel run was interesting. And they built him up, and he had like that really good feud with his former partner. And then it was the momentum at WE killed them. WE ruined it. And that's not surprising if you know its history of taking young talent and then squishing it and now having it forgotten. Personally, I hope he can rebound, but it's not surprising that they're here. It's not surprising this happens again because Lord knows it's just going to continue to happen because this company does not. Oh, because Paul Levesque, he still don't see cover. Meanwhile, people like let's see if I can find this little tweet because it just really I just I look at this stuff here. I look at it and I am still I see yada 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 da. Let me just see if I can find it. If I can see if I can look for it because it really just shows where WWE is at right now. Because it shows where the people who you are the building of stars of where WE is at, and you can see, um, you know, where is it? Let's see if I can find it because it proves a point. It's been see it's somewhere because it just shows where Braun Breaker is, and it um shows where Braun Breaker is, and it shows where um Carmelo Hayes is at right now. Because it's just like let's see. Move right here. I think I'm almost there because it just shows to the point of where it is because I mean just it's just that they don't care about building up black men talent. Black men are not welcome to WWE. They're not really world champion material. They have they got all this other stuff here. They have all these other people, these other 30 and 40-year-olds. You know, they got these 40-year-olds and everything else, and they think they're just fine. But at the end of the day, guess what? They're still here. They're still in that same place. And oh my gosh, you're staying. Oh, and that sort of thing. I'm like, man, just it just frustrates me. It frustrates me because you're wasting, time and wasting energy for this. You're wasting all of this, you know, this whole, we're wasting time, energy to build these old guys. I mean, Seth Rollins should not be your main event star. Same as Roman Reigns and the same as CM Punk. Why are you putting these old dudes in your main event roster? Meanwhile, you got like Carmella Hayes lying there in the Miz vortex, lying there in the same, the places that just still is in that same loop that everything else. The Street Profits have been in a same, has been in the same position since, quite honestly, since 2000 and since they lost their titles. They haven't went up and went down. Now they're thinking about breaking them up, and I'm like, are they really going to, put them in the main talent and such? I remember people that 2002, 2022, um, Elimination Chamber, that U.S. Championship one. Martez Ford was getting all this up. Oh, he's gonna be U.S. champion. Oh, he's gonna be this. Oh, he's gonna be. I'm like, where is he at? In the same position. When are people going to get this, man? Everyone is stale in the whole thing. Everybody is stale. Am I wrong? The staleness and such, and this whole thing of these old guys, and I'm like, and you wonder why the shows have been stagnant for a while. Heck, I will be honest with you, they've been stagnant since the last year's Crown Jewel, and all the storylines were messed up. where they had to fight champions for championship for that big old belt that meant nothing. They stopped all their stories. Everything was delayed for Cody Rhodes and that big old thing and everything else. Derailed Gunther, and Gunther's loss. He never really recovered from that. He he never really got that killer instinct again. He just feels like an afterthought. Gunther's an afterthought. That's what he is. He's an afterthought guy. Put him in the mid card permanently at this point. He has not he is not built up. Gunther's an afterthought. Um, you know, Jay and they like, well, we got to do something. Well, the ratings are not really doing well. Bring back the bloodline drama. We got to keep doing this bloodline drama, even though that is the same thing. WE is in this whole mess right now because they haven't really built up their new stars. They haven't built up their new stars. And when you toss away people like who have been really connect with the audience, be a villain or hero, like Wesley, at what point you just look at that and just like, they tried to a bootleg version of the Demand and everything, and it just like they fizzled in all that stuff here, and that's what the problem is. They are fizzling, and it's just in the bottom, and that is a problem of what this company is. They have none. They have no connection. They have no real build up to. There's no stars. WE has the lack of stars they have built up is like, and by the way, people say, well, Trick Williams. I'm like, man, Trick Williams was just caring for TNA. And you know what? That's going to happen. What's going to happen to him? He's going to go right back to the NXT championship, and then he'll go right to the main roster and be right where Carmelo Hayes at. He's going to be forgotten about, and that's it. Hell, they're going to probably take away his theme music. Trust me. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. We lost the rights to it, so we're going to have like Trick Williams, Trick Williams, something so bland and boring that it's just not going to really connect and everything else. That's his fate. That is his fate. Oh, am I wrong? Am I lying, ladies and gentlemen? Am I lying? Am I going to be, in my opinion, that's what's going to happen. Trick Williams is going to be in the same place with Carmelo Hayes being forgotten about. And, and the only time Carmelo Hayes was actually built up to was with Andrade. And speaking of Andrade, let me just put that stuff here. If I can finally get the Andrade's craziness. Do not use Brave's browser. It's fine, but I think Bing is a little bit better. Let's see. Here it is. This story right here. Let me just see if I can get this right. This story is wild. The AEW contract that Andrade can be silent much longer than 90 days. Here it is. A week of speculation. The reason why Andrade's absence in AEW television was finally revealed this morning because he thought his non-compete was going to release him. That the non-compete was done. Nope. That it could be a year, ladies and gentlemen. This could be, he cannot be in AEW or any type of bigger stuff for a year. But this is he was free and clear. He was not told of any non-compete and suddenly began taking bookings. Andrade met Tony Khan during this period, during which an AEW deal was reached. They was gonna actually do all this other stuff here. And now it's like it's gonna be another lawsuit, which when wrestlers do that lawsuit dance with this whole non-compete stuff, they usually win. Brock Lesnar did it after the football thing that I want to go do some New Japan. He said, okay, I'll do new W. Said, nope, okay, I'll take you to court. And then boom, lost, and then turned the FI to the verdict and got the idiotic sword tattoo. Berto, El Patron, he fought it and he won. And this is what's going to happen again. And like in a couple months, again, that's my prediction, is that they will fight this and he will win. That's gonna be, and we're just wasting time. So that's what I feel like, and that is what is gonna be there. And yeah, well, that's a good question here. No, I think it's just a lot of the creative cap right now between those the people there. I think Hunter is trying to get out of wrestling. I think he's trying to, because supposedly he's going to those political stuff. He's trying to get into that political arena and not focus on his job. I think Tony's doing fine. Tony Khan's doing decently. I think the pay per views are doing really good. I think um, the build up is going to be really, I think what they're doing, the blood and guts. I hope that means the women will get the shot, because I want the women to get their stuff at. And when they do, that blood and guts is gone for a long time. And Anarchy Arena as well. No Anarchy in Arena, no all that stuff, no big gimmick matches for at least a year or two to get fans to be like, you know what? We're gonna miss this for a while. We're gonna go away for it for a while. And that's what I think that would be a better thing overall. And I think hopefully 100 Days the same way, because the war games are getting sick of it. I'm getting tired of war games. I'm tired of this stuff. Just go to, I'm not saying brand warfare, no. Just go to just elimination stuff, have some fun, and let people miss these big stipulations. Let people miss. Hey, they didn't do Hell in a Cell this year, which is good. So I think war games should have no war games for a while. Just like, the only gimmicks, they should be like this is War Rumble and all that type of stuff. And, but have people miss it. Have these people miss these type of storylines and have them miss these things. But that's just me. But yeah, Andrade stuff here. But you know what? Speaking of AEW, um, let's talk a little about the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view card. Let's talk about it. Okay, we got Jamie Hayter versus Tekla, first non-title women match. It took you this long, Tony. But you got the story sound. Hayter was taken out by Tekla. Tekla wants to be impressed by her and like, all right, let's do this. And this, I think, will be the prelude for that whole blood and guts match, because I think Megan Bain and Penelope Ford will be in that position. So it's going to be Tekla, Hayter. No, it's going to be Hayter, Willow, um, Hater, Willow, Queen Aminata, Anna Jay and Ty Conti, I think, and maybe Harley Cameron. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that will be a blood and guts match, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that, hopefully. And that'll be the women's one. Be great. Hudson versus Ricochet in the GOA. The Demand Tornado Tag, good. I hope the Demand act, because they looked really good. I like these two teams just going back and forth, because Sheldon is just great. And just like every time I see Sheldon Benjamin wrestle, it's like a reminder how like this man should be a multiple world champion. I know he won the Intercontinental title. I think U.S. Championship too. Um, God, he was the eternal mid card guy and should have won the world title multiple times. Multiple. I keep saying, if Jack Swagger can swagger his swaggerless ass up to a world title, why couldn't Sheldon? But yeah, um, I think this is gonna be really good. A very fun tornado tag match. 500K Young Bucks Jackson Express. Bucks have been getting a little bit more of their mojo back. Jackson Express could have their. I think this will be a really good match. Because last time they actually had the good stuff there. I think it's gonna be a good match. And next up, I think the I Quit match is going to be the main event of the show. It should be Allen and Moxley. I think Darby wins by making Moxley actually say those words, and it finally breaks the Death Riders. I think the Death Riders will break, or maybe that would be something really there. That would just be me. Next up, you have Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe. I would say Briscoe wins, maybe. Um, he does have that big win against MJF, but I don't see Fletcher losing. So draw? No. I'm leaning for Fletcher, but I think Mark Briscoe holding that TNT title would not be the end of the world. I mean, hey, you don't need to have. I think it'd be nice to have a little break of a breakup of that stuff. I think it'd be interesting. And the AEW World Tag Championship, Brodito versus Okada and Takeshita. Okada and Takeshita, they can't coexist, and then they start fighting and beefing. Brody King and Bandito can retain their tag championships. Awesome stuff. I think that would be great. I like these two. This is gonna be a fun little match there. Statlander versus Tony Storm. This will probably be my match of the night. Statlander will win. Tony Storm will lose. And I think the next big challenger for Statlander, since all the women can be in blood and guts, let's see who's because again, the story could be something very interesting. Maybe they take on the person she couldn't beat. The next match will be maybe at Blood and Guts, Statlander versus Mercedes Moné. Statlander beats her and becomes a double champion. That's my head. Maybe I could be wrong. I want to hear what y'all have to say about that. Oh, who knows? I don't think so. They seem to be fine. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe. But now we get to our main event. Hangman Adam Page, the World Heavyweight Champion. Well, he is. Yeah, AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the Men's World Heavyweight Champion, take on the Trios Champion, the Samoan Submission Machine, Samoa Joe. This, I think, could be a good 4-star match. Not the main event. I think it'd be a really good match here. 25 minutes, a decent one. But I think there's going to be something more interesting on the horizon. Let me see if I can get that tweet up. Let me see if I can get that tweet up. Let's see. Because this seems to be this one right here looks to be something that a lot of people have been talking about. Switchblade Jay White says ready ? And the last time he posted was March. So maybe he might be Cowboy's next opponent. You think Cowboy got rid of all of his demons, ladies and gentlemen? You thought he got rid of all of his demons. Imagine the demons. That one demon, that one person he can never really beat, comes back and lays claim. That's going to be a fun time. Will the Cowboy fall back to his ways? Or will it be the Switchblade? Or will he finally be ready to breathe with the Switchblade? Or will the Cowboy finally, be put to pasture? That will be his biggest test. But that's just my personal opinion. Could be wrong. I want to hear what you have to say. Like, subscribe, all that here. Anyway, we're going to take a small little break here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back soon. And when we do return, I got some stuff to talk about. We're going to be back to the world of video games and stuff of entertainment. We'll be right back here live on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Listen to me, Dukect. We'll be right back right after this.
When the chilling in the lab, equation pen and a pad. Meditate on the universe down to an atomic mass. To diss me would be crass, opposition comes in last. Yeah, we straight from the sewer, but y'all ninjas just trash. You gotta be out your mind trying to mess with the team. A warrior keeps it chill, calm and serene, till a villain pops up in the civilian's path. And I step in and play whack-a-mole with my bow staff. Late night heroes, bright lights of the city, cruising in that turtle van, and I got the whole crew with me. Lasers on the roof, computers in the back, hooked up by yours truly. Shredder, where you at? Divide the pie, subtract the whack, add the fact that we hold it down in every city on the map. Multiply by the brain power I possess. That's a recipe for success. Yes.
I do it, I need to have fun. I do it, need that gun. I can make it time running over everyone.
You know the space, you've seen it on the Tizoo, reporting on the issues, the saga continues. There's a whole slew of people chasing after me. Further than the eye can see, it runs in the family. Blocking and knocking these haters out with my click. All we need is some kicks, cause we do's it like this. Shower you with our turtle power. Any given day, any given hour. But ninja wanna start some drama? We'll go to work with your katana, watch him. Slice it and dice it up. Tell your homeboys better beware. Here comes Michelangelo with the shucks. Send you running straight back to your lair. Ooh, join on up with Donnie and Ralph. Take a little ride, we'll head out south. On the red line or on a damn rhyme. Won't you step up? Don't make us have to go off. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Take us to your leader, we gon' shred him like he wants to be.
I do it, I need to have fun. I do it, need that gun. I can make it time running over everyone.
I dominate the landscape from video games to fame. Across the range of America, the Great Plains. Chicago sewers got less rats than back home. What would you do if you lived under the thrones? Yeah, I had to move, cause the groove was lost in New York. The foot soldiers adored, so I moved and got a new sport. And now I'm staining milk on a magnificent mile. Extra deep dish style, but once in a while I recall giant balls falling downstairs. But I ain't scared, I got my ninja powers and I'm always prepared. Don't stare, I might be a little green, but you'll be envious of my fighting machine. Skills, pills, I never pop. I keep my body hot. I can cock any robot on the block. Stop the presses, my bros are swinging by in the van. It's pizza time, so pork rinds, label what's crammed.
The path that leads to what we truly desire is long and difficult. But only by following that path do we achieve our goal.
I do it, I need to have fun. I do it, need that gun. I can make it time running over everyone.
Red chucks on, nose ring swingy, purple mohawk with some shades for the framing, Benz in my framing, thieves for the Franklin, call steady rock, hit the blocks in the bank, and
Unlike the Brady's grenades, it's a statement to blow a few holes in my foes, leave them stankin'. Moves in arrangement, hoofs hit the pavement, clan in the van, crew armed and we dangerous. Swerve through the lanes and gotta start gunning. Cops on our ass through the roof, start busting. Start puffing, mash on the gas as I ash on the dash, bouncing bombs off the glass. Clink from the scraps, made it sound like a rap. Sweat on my horn, dabbed it off with a scrap. Turned to my right, all I heard was a tap. A sigh in my grill, green toes in my lap.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for sticking with me here on this lovely Thursday evening. And let's get back into it. Let's see. My goodness. Here we are. Let's talk about this little mess here. All right, from Polygon. This is a big story from Microsoft. The Game Pass Day One games and all that good stuff. The games that were now cost $30 a month. It's price going to be like $360. The Xbox 360 returns, and it, red ringed. But yeah, let's see, because they actually did raise the price up from 10 to 15. It will, go back up now to about, $30. And this reminds me of people are so pissed off of this. I mean, they were pissed off that it was remember the Game Pass cancel stuff was so pissed off that I think it shut down. Let me see if I can get this whole stuff here. It shut down. The entire page was shut down because of it. Because now when you have that up to $30, it just proves the point that at what point that it is to they rebranded the whole thing to Essential, Premium, and Ultimate to basically saying the doubling because the reason why they did this, let's get this with this, is because they probably realized that they're not making much money doing this Game Pass stuff. The Game Pass, and I said this again from all the streamers, and it's the Hollywood stuff too. The Hollywood movies and everything else about streaming and everything else there is because they're not making money off it. And the reason why is because you put all this new stuff on here. And the new stuff is like, well, I'm not going to go to the movies. I'm not going to do anything else. I'll just go and watch it here. And, or they, sell the high seas since there's all these like multiple stuff. I mean, seriously, you look at the NBA, the NBA and everything else, just the way you watch it. Let me see if I can get this one little thing here. Boop, 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 boop. There you go. If I can just put it right up here for you. This is from their own NBA. This is from their own stuff. The season watch guide for the NBA. Holy crap. Look at this. You can have ABC, NBC Peacock, Peacock, ESPN, Prime, Prime ESPN, and Prime ABC. Yeah, just you know what? I could just imagine putting the one piece flag, and you know what that thing is basically going to be around there. So congratulations, guys! You really have ruined this whole situation here. Just the mind numbing stupidity of this, because hey, the NBA doesn't want. They said this is a highlight league, so the commissioner said so. So they just don't want you to watch the games. Just just uh terrible stuff. And now going back to this, with this, for example, the reason why it is because I guarantee they bought too much of the Activision Blizzard and such. They bought all this stuff and they're like, oh crap, we have to actually, you know, we can't afford this now. And now they're like, maybe this whole thing was supposed to be this whole game pass thing was supposed to be profitable, and now it's not. It's not. And now with this whole, when Game Pass Ultimate was like it was $15, it was going to be 16 and everything else in 1999. Now it's 20. This will get higher and higher, and now people have canceled it, and there's a lot more cancelings, and heck, a lot of it. um, you know, um, you can get EA Play Pro for $14.99 and play Battle 6 Day 1 when it releases on October. Like you can get other streaming services and everything. So and the stuff you get, like, you get Ubisoft stuff and you can play games on the cloud, which is basically trying so hard to be like Google Stadia, but at least somewhat tolerable. So yeah, it just frustrates me because I am, play Game Pass and all this type of stuff. But these people who stay on it, who will, stay on this Game Pass and everything, they will be priced out, and the negativity of this will continue to go through. And now they have they had a little bit of a pushback. And now, a couple days later, some current stars won't be affected by the Microsoft European stuff. Not yet. But I would not be surprised that if the cancellations continue, they will have to do that for American stuff as well. The American stuff will be happening because I recently heard this. This is going to happen in America soon because I think it's going to be, Poland, Ireland, Italy, Germany, South Korea, and all that stuff they're not going to change it. This will change in about, I think American will probably around November if this continues happening, because this whole pricing is going, and that sort of thing is going nuts. And then, speaking of Microsoft, this is going to be going right now. Let me just see it. Right here. Meanwhile, Microsoft workers in this story right now. It's connected to this because right here, around 400 Blizzard platform and technology staff are the latest Microsoft workers who voted to unionize because they have so many layoffs, so many people going this cut from these AI and all this other stuff. They're saying, you know what? We're going to unionize, and if you're going to, fire us, we're going to be make sure people are taken care of. Are you going to have to? You're not going to be like, no, you're not going to just cut everything off. And the reason why they're doing this is for the AI and all the other stuff. Which, I mean, there are some things AI can do, but I don't think it's supposed to be this big. It's gonna solve all the problems and save the world. And no, it won't. It is. I think we're heading to a huge .com type crash of it. The .com bubble. Remember that? It's gonna be like that, but probably worse. It will be worse. And when that happens, how many of these companies and especially the governments are looking for a bailout, and B, how many of them are going to be like, oh no, yep. What's up, Charlie? How you doing? Also, yes, agreed. And you know why it connects to WWE? They haven't built what? New stars. Ha! It all connects to wrestling. All it does. But yeah, back to this point that they are going to the unions and such, they are going to have, the people behind World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo, a recent secure representation. The latest union is made of software engineers, project and product managers, graphic designers on Battle.net, localizers, QA testers, and customer support staff. It has already been formally recognized by Blizzard's parent company, Microsoft. And it says, quote, I've seen too many of my talented coworkers leave the company either due to layoffs, a fair lack of fair compensation, or proper accommodations not being met, said Blizzard senior quality analyst and organizing committee member Timothy Blightly. I'm extremely happy that we, the workers, have greater control of our workplace and that we finally have a seat at the table to truly make Blizzard a company we're proud to work for. Blizzard workers in Texas are joining a new generation of video game developers who know their worth and standing up for it, the CWA's Ron Schraggedy added. Together with our siblings in California and beyond, they're proving that no matter where you work, organizing is how we make this industry sustainable for the people who power it. So, yeah, I think this was, this is, there's going to be more of this unionization, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to get more of that because of this AI and everything else here. I think that's what's going to happen in the next, like I said, in the next year or two. There will be more unionizations of the video game space, and when AI does collapse, and it will, because the AI is going to be, um, like I keep saying, AI is not a, oh my gosh, it's going to be saving and everything else. No, AI is not that. AI is just going to be, it could just do little stuff, but not the world saving thing. So, well, speaking of things that's not going to save the world, uh, let me see if I can talk a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about Tron Ares, people. Let's talk a little about it before we wrap things up. Let's see. All right, let's see about talk about Tron Ares and how it just completely bombed. What happened here? What happened to Tron? What happened? Well, Let's see. Why did it fail? Why did Tron Ares? Let me see if I can get a story about it. Why did this fail? Why did no one want to go? Um, you know, weird and such. Let's see. What? Let's see. People are now saying it's the franchise and such, and I can see that. Let me just put this here. All right. Let me see if I can get this story up here. Oh, only anyone saying that? What about the AI stuff? I think it's like me personally. I think it's going to happen. The AI thing is going to fall apart. Um, but yeah, that's why I see it. The AI thing is going to probably go down to where the dodo bird, and when it does, it's going to bring down a ton of people. And like I said, the bailout is coming, and when they do, uh, man, it's not going to be pretty. But anyway, the AI, the Ares, this thing bombed. And the reason why it bombed, a lot of people looked at Tron films over 43 years, which honestly, why did this turn to be a failure? And the reason why it's failed, I could look into the history of this whole movie, the Tron franchise. Tron was only, wasn't really that good or popular. It had the movie when it showed up faded away to obscurity. And then the second movie, I think the nostalgia goggles came in. The only thing I remember of Tron growing up and this type of thing were, I think, maybe the parodies. And I did see the movie once on the Disney Channel, and I didn't really have that much of a connection to it. Then I saw Tron, I believe, on Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 had a Tron world. And I think it was trying to build up that type of, okay, we're going to have this Tron legacy. And that thing was decent. No one really cared about that. And then we had Tron Ares. Not good. And the reason why, one, people didn't really care for Tron. And it says right here, it says, it's hard to peg exactly where the mass appeal for a Tron film is going to come from. It's not as brainy as the previous films. It tries to appeal to the multiplex masses, but there just isn't there that many tells on this is something they haven't seen before, which is true. They haven't really, even open the weekend. Look at this. The original Tron never really got, they never really connected with people. And then this is the domestic total after inflation. Okay, fine. But if you look at the first movie, Tron, look at this. 1982 didn't do much. Tron Legacy, like I said, 44 million. And then domestic total, 120. Okay, it did better, but I don't think it probably made its budget back. And inflation, yeah. But this, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be after this whole run where it completely goes down. I think Tron Ares is going to be one of those things like, why did you try to remake this? You know, say what you want, say Final Destination or something, or Top Gun Maverick. I think the reason Top Gun Magic worked it was because it just had that the people who made it was really cared about the story and the material here. And funny enough, the guy who did Top Gun Maverick, the director, directed Tron Legacy. And the people who wanted, and they probably wanted to do something else, but Disney thought they'd do something different. And again, it is an old trope that I hate. You see this big fantastical world of Tron, a big fantastical like fantasy sci-fi world. Let's bring it to our world and such, which I'm sick of. I'm sick of that type of let's bring them into our own world, this drab place. No, we should be going to their world. We should be going to the world of Tron and such. And they do for a minute. They do it for like at least a minute and they go right back to the real world. Which is it's a cheap cutout, man. It's just cheap. And I hate that whole and Tron did not they that was the whole the gift of Tron is the humans go into that world in the reality and play around with it. Here, they said let's go out in the world and have AI, that sort of thing. It just did not have any type of connection. And yes, it did have that whole bat-like animation, the light cycle action scenes. People loved that in the original Tron. And they had John Lasseter saying that said that Tron showed him that they can do something with computers of Toy Story. Tron lead animator Chris Wedge went on to found Blue Sky Studios, Ice Age, and everything else, which then got bought off by Disney and everything else. And now he's going to be reviving this for a sixth installment because because Disney basically like, oh, we own all the Ice Age stuff. If you watch Alien Earth, they're like, yeah, we own these properties now. See, we have them, which is so sad. It's just like, the whole conglomerating, big, bloated Disney, and they still haven't gotten the only big hit they had was the nostalgia of Lilo and Stitch. That was it. Everything else, mid, bomb, mid, bomb, bomb, bomb. And that's what it is. But yeah, exactly. I mean, Legacy had the advantage to come at the peak of the 3D bonanza, like Avatar, which I still didn't care for, and I still don't care for. But I just sat out Tron Legacy because I saw like, no, it looks like it's gonna be this 3D thing, and I just didn't care for it. But yeah, they really tried to make Tron Legacy. They tried to make Tron Uprising, but then they opened the checkbook, got Star Wars. So screw you, we don't need that anymore. And now we just keep remaking and redoing it. You know, that the whole Ares thing was Tron 3 was Jared Leto, who, eventually won an Oscar. Then he did all that weird stuff. Then he had a cult and everything else. So yeah, it was this is right here. It says the first iteration of Tron Ares was a different movie, but it had a character in Ares that Leto was cast as while we were in pre-production. He really got his teeth into his character, a emotionless, stoic guy, which I don't think that's actually a leap to play with him. He wanted to, all this other stuff. A full marketing push. They made a whole soundtrack with Trent Reznor, with Nine Inch Nails. Leto was promoted, featuring the promotion material of light cycles, grid, all this other stuff, but yet it just, stalled and no one watched it. It was that terrible. It was a terrible film. And then look at this right here. By the way, this Jared Leto is not just the just terrible, seems to be a terrible person, but also box office poison. This Blade Runner. Oh my God, look at this. The Suicide Squad from this to Blade Runner. Holy crap. Woof. Then the House of Gucci, which I heard it was decent. Morbius, Morbin Time, and Tron. This is, at this point, just you put him in the streaming bubble at that point. You put him in the. If this was like 10, 15 years ago, I'm like, if this was Jared Leto's like this, I'm like, put him in direct to DVD purgatory. I would just put him on like, what is Pure Flix or something like that. Just like, yeah, no. Yep, end of line. Yeah, this is what a perfect thing here. End of line. Last year, Baylor was key to making Tron more than just a deep cut of 80s pop culture. Stepped down as Disney production president, closing the book on a 14th-year run of the studio. Tron Ares is one of his last contributions, and he's credited at the start of the movie reading a Sheen Bailey film. Ooh. Oof. Such a change in guard comes with a new approach where film gets greenlit, and what comes from Disney under Bailey's successor Dave Greenbaum remains to be seen. The studio's 2026 slate has couple non-IP offerings from 20th Century Studios, like the Josh Brolin survival thriller Whalefall, but it's largely defined by titles like Toy Story 5, Moana Remake, Marvel's Avengers Doomsday, and Disney does a placeholder slots for spring and fall for 2007 for live action projects released under the Walt Disney label. But now Tron seems to be finished. It's done. Yeah. But this is why. I'm gonna look at this right here. Look at this right here. The titles of Toy Story 5, live action Moana, and then Marvel's Avengers Doomsday. This is why Disney is continuing to fail. There is no new IPs. The only new IP is Whalefall, but there's nothing else. And now they had to bring back The Simpsons to basically have a movie to kick off another Marvel movie there. This again, I've showed that because the lack of new, interesting ideas and the creative people are just driving the IPs into the mud. Bland and mediocrity as well. Toy Story 5, Moana coming into this whole thing, which I wouldn't be surprised might be a hit. Like, I think Moana will probably be it will be the Lilo and Stitch and be a hit. I'm just saying it will be a hit because the kids today love Moana, so they're going to have that. They're going to make it into a live action. That's going to be the only hit. And I wouldn't be surprised if Doomsday will be the same prediction of Fantastic Four because people are just tired of that stuff because this will be their only win. Toy Story 5 won't be their win. It will just be forgotten about. Moana will not be forgotten. Moana will be their one hit. And they'll just say, all right, we got one big hit, so everything's fine. No, nothing is fine in the House of Mouse. You need to get some new stuff ideas. And if not, well, you're going to be on that whole, the ride of irrelevancy. Or, as this says, end of line. End of line. But yeah, that's my thing. Let's see. Oh, Almost Only Gun. A Mr. Terrific movie can be a box office success. I think it could. You have to have the right story, the right story, the right director, the right type of thing here. Because Mr. Terrific is known to be as a ensemble hero, not a solo one. And Mr. Terrific has a very interesting backstory in the comics. He lost his wife. He became more focused with his lost it, like that sort of thing, and build up something there. And there's not really much villains, but you could do something else there with it. But yeah, there's something there. But I want to go back to the point when you look at Toy Story 5, Moana, Doomsday, I'm just like, I'm out. Just like I'm done. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. No, let's see. Wonder Man? No. Boo Marvel ain't showing up. Maybe as a remake, and are they going to do like a streaming show that no one cares about in 2 years? Does anyone talk about Ironheart anymore? No. Wonder Man, they dropping 8 episodes on that. That means it's done. They're doing a movie. They didn't care about this thing. It's in January. It's all 8 episodes. I might just do it just like to watch all 8 in one weekend just to see as a lark. Maybe that would be, that would be interesting. Who knows? But yeah, I think that is what I see in the future. Could be wrong, but yeah, goodness gracious, it's just so much. The IPs, man. I'm just tired of these, they're not connected with the people and everything else. Just, oh, we must put this here. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this one. I'm just like, I don't care about Wonder Man. I don't care about this stuff. I just like, the reason why I give more DC's grace and everything, because they're beginning something. They're doing something big with it. And Marvel, they could have done something, but the Phase 4 and Phase 5 were just farting around, and I am just tired of it. And the only really good movies there were, I think, the ones that had the least connections. You can say Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. You had not just Wakanda Forever, but you also had, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 that had little to no connection to the world of Marvel, and you notice that actually was a lot better. You just noticed that. But that's just my personal opinion. I want to hear y'all thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening to me, Dukect. It has been, well, poorly constructed. Yeah, but I just think it's just the character. I just said this. I truly believe if they want to do something with that old world, Ironheart, Wonder Man, and all that stuff, put them. If they want to talk about the multiverse, put them in different universes. Put it in the multiverse. Boom, their own story in that multiverse, and they have to deal with that stuff and build up on it. Connect them to the audience themselves and not have them just be dumped and actually just really care about them. That's what you would have done. That's what I would have done with Ironheart. That's what I would have done with Wonder Man. That's what I would have done with all these stuff here. It's a whole Marvel thing. It's idiotic, but it's silly, but it's comic books. But yeah, I'm gonna end with that. Wonder Man is not gonna be good. I think it's going to be just mid as always with Marvel. Until they get new, better management. But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sticking with me, Duke CT. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all later.